Dramatic readings of Andria McClellan, Norfolk, Virginia politician on Facebook. Part 3, Her Lovelocks Fiasco. In this episode, our third in the series, Francophile aesthete and Norfolk City Council member Andria McClellan has decided that she simply must see lovelocks in her neighborhood. And again, Karen Biatsky brilliantly reprises her role as Andria McClellan's voice, as well as quite ably rendering the voice of Norfolk City spokeswoman Lori Crouch. The tourist fad known as lovelocks had desecrated the famous old bridges of Paris for years, and the French were sick to death of it. They had already started removing the locks and would soon outlaw them. Then, in 2014, padlocks started appearing on a bridge in Norfolk, Virginia. It was the old steel pedestrian bridge across the inlet called the Hague, which was in Andria McClellan's neighborhood. The old bridge was only a couple of blocks from Andria McClellan's house, and she loved seeing the locks on it. As Andria McClellan pointed out in a mass emailing, she had been to Paris.
As a nearby resident, I think these locks are incredibly romantic and charming. They make me smile, thinking about the adorable couples who visit our neighborhood as they publicly declare their love.
God help us! And what was wrong with the so-called lovelocks on Andria McClellan's neighborhood bridge? Let me count the ways. Eyesores defacing the historic bridge. Jagged, rusting hazards to passers-by, especially kids on bikes or skates or scooters. Invitations to graffiti. Destructive to the steel bridge itself due to chafing and electrolytic corrosion caused by dissimilar metals in contact. And the vandals were not only locking cute little padlocks to the bridge. Locking anything to a bridge or other public right-of-way is illegal according to the Norfolk City Code.
The voice of city spokeswoman Lori Crouch.
The city has no plans to remove the locks. We love the love in Norfolk.
Since Virginia law allows users of public rights-of-way to remove anything illegally placed in them, including padlocks, neighbors began taking the locks off the bridge themselves. And they took them all off, except for the 50 or so of the strongest locks, which would have required power tools for their removal.
As for those who are against this, please know they are in the minority. Seriously, folks, let's talk about the flooding, the schools, transportation, the arts. But bitch about padlocks? These folks are a limited few. All my neighbors with whom I've talked like the locks. These newbies are the exception, not the rule.
But a petition asking the Norfolk City Council to remove the locks circulated in Andria McClellan's relatively small neighborhood, and nearly 300 of her neighbors signed it. Yet the Norfolk City Council, which Andria McClellan sat on, still refused to do anything about the locks. The Cavalier City Council even refused to explain why, even though such padlocks were being removed from other places in the city. Every effort to get the Norfolk City Council to respond with the reason for its discriminatory policy was met with silence.
Why let them trash this bridge?
After more than 3 years of fighting the locks, neighbors finally petitioned the Norfolk Circuit Court to declare the locks a nuisance and have the city of Norfolk treat them accordingly. The court noted the illegality of placing things like padlocks in public rights-of-way, and it gave the city of Norfolk a sound scolding for causing such a matter to be brought to it. It informed the Norfolk City Council that if the locks were not removed, it would impanel a special grand jury to look into the matter. Probably because that might entail city officials having to testify under oath about their discriminatory law enforcement, the Norfolk City Council then had the locks removed, and the old bridge was finally lock-free again after all those years. The finale to this story of bad taste, bad judgment, and discrimination. Enter Andria McClellan again, the love-lock savior. Now she posed herself as a neutral conciliator who had come up with a compromise solution, anything to keep the locks somewhere. So she championed an alternative sculpture to be built near the bridge for people to lock their love locks to. She even conducted an online survey, albeit a ridiculously unscientific one, that indicated that 48% of respondents might be willing to donate money for the new sculpture. She even picked a location for it, a shady lane right next to the old bridge, which she christened the Love Grove. Then she organized and held meetings with other lock lovers. She even got the city's Public Arts Commission to chime in, and it recommended a budget of $25,000 to $30,000 for Andria McClellan's Lovelock sculpture. But when push came to shove, it seemed the lock lovers didn't love the locks enough to pry open their purses. So Andria McClellan's great Lovelock sculpture initiative faded into oblivion, and the name Love Grove never found its way onto any map of the city of Norfolk.
Maybe she'll buy the bridge next.